How's it going, everyone? It's me, Lone, and we are back with another Fallout 76 video. So ever since the Fallout 76 footage dropped at E3 this year, the community has been pointing out things here and there which they believe to be potentially inconsistent with the pre-established lore of Fallout. And we've already talked about the return of bottle caps and also as well the inclusion of super mutants. But another perceived inconsistency is the return of the XO1 power armor in Fallout 76 and in West Virginia. So in this video, I want to answer the question: is the existence of the XO1 power armor in Fallout 76 lore breaking? Well, to answer this, as always, we have to deep dive into the lore of Fallout, and to do so we're using both the fandom and Gamepedia Fallout wikis, which are linked in the description below. And before we get started, I want to say that the lore in this area is inconsistent with each other, it's vague, and there's potentially retcons, although the Fallout community has come to a general conclusion as to what the lore of the XO1 power armor actually is. But just note at this early stage, there are some inaccuracies and inconsistencies, but let's get started anyway. A loading screen entry in Fallout 4 states the following: the XO1 series of power armor was specially engineered and employed by remnants of the US military after the Great War, and offers increased protection over the older pre-war models. But many in the Fallout community consider this loading screen entry to be wrong. This is because other in-game lore in Fallout, and especially lore that was introduced in the DLC of Nuka World, actually contradicts it, by suggesting that the XO1 power armor was actually created before the Great War ever began. And yes, even Fallout Shelter seems to confirm this, when it has an entry that states that earlier prototype models of the XO1 were even used by the President's bodyguards. And it seems that these earlier models were designated the XO1 Mark I. Now mind you, this Fallout Shelter entry doesn't ever say what year this took place in, but presumably it was before the Great War, as when the nukes were dropped, the President and the US government all retreated to secret locations around the world, including the Poseidon Energy oil rig. So they probably at that stage didn't have a need to use the XO1 power armor to protect the President. So I'm assuming this entry from Fallout Shelter also confirms that the XO1 power armor is pre-war. But nevertheless, Nuka World makes this very clear. Then, after the Great War, the early XO1 design was improved further by segments of the US military, which increased its protective capabilities. Eventually, these improved models were designated the XO1 Mark IV. And now let's get to the Nuka World lore. In the year 2076, the Nuka-Cola Corporation and the US military were testing an XO1 power armor variant in conjunction with the scientists at Nuka World. We know these facts thanks to terminal entries at John Caleb Bradberton's office in Nuka Town, USA. These entries tell us of a project that the Nuka World scientific team was contracted to undertake within the US Armed Forces LEAP-X program, codenamed Project Cobalt. This project was supervised by General Braxton and headed by a man named Rex Meacham. Within 7 months, Meacham's team uncovered a unique isotope based on strontium-90, which they called Quantum, and this could be used to weaponize the arsenal of the US military. This included the US military's XO1 power armor. The terminal entry by Bradberton that mentions this says the following: "We've even used the Quantum to enhance one of the military's power armor suits." And this enhancement of the XO1 led to the creation of the Quantum XO1 power armor, which is able to regenerate action points thanks to the Quantum and its ability to store incoming energy. Now all of this is important because it points to the actual date of not just the discovery of Quantum, but indeed the initial creation of the XO1. Bradberton's terminal entry, which indicated that the team used Quantum to enhance the XO1, was dated the 20th of October 2076, a year before the Great War ever even began. So at least according to the lore in Nuka World, this officially confirms that at the very least, the initial design of the XO1 power armor is pre-war, rather than post-war, and then that Fallout 4 loading screen entry can be treated as incorrect. Now, there is a chance that these pieces of lore in Fallout 4 and also Shelter act as slight retcons to the lore that was established in the Fallout Bible written by Chris Avellone and also in Fallout 2. Now, it's still up for debate in terms of whether the Fallout Bible is considered canon, but at the very least, it's instructive. The Bible stated that it was in the year 2198 where the Enclave worked on variations of the power armor, and then in 2215 there was an explicit presidential order for the Enclave scientists to upgrade the power armor. This work was completed in the year 2220, where Enclave scientists developed a reliable version of the power armor. This power armor is known as the Advanced Power Armor, and it appeared in Fallout 2. Now yes, the Advanced Power Armor and the X-01 look very similar, especially when you consider the helmet. But again, the Advanced Power Armor was developed after the Great War, whereas the X-01 Power Armor was developed before the Great War. And then by the year 2277, the Advanced Power Armor Mark II was the standard issue amongst the Enclave. Now, it is up for debate in terms of whether these pieces of lore are actually inconsistent with each other or not. The Fallout Gamepedia attempts to reconcile this potential conflict by implying that the Advanced Power Armor is actually an improvement version over the early X-01 prototype model, and the year 2198 was the one that work on improving the X-01 into the Advanced Power Armor actually began. And generally, it also seems that the Fallout community on Reddit has agreed with this line of reasoning. So for all intents and purposes, we can assume that the X-01 is actually a predecessor to the Advanced Power Armor and Advanced Power Armor Mark II, which would explain their similar but not quite the same appearance. But let me know whether in the comments below you'd actually call this a retcon. So finally back to Fallout 76. If we decide to settle on this version of the lore, we could say that the earlier prototype of the X-01 is pre-war armor, which means that the X-01 appearance in Fallout 76 is not actually lore-breaking. Being set 25 years after the Great War, the early X-01 power armor would have been around for over 25 years, and perhaps by that time the X-01 Mark IV had been created too. We could even theorize that some of the development of the X-01 power armor took place at the Greenbrier Hotel in West Virginia, given that that was meant to be the bunker for the president and top military personnel, and this could explain why the power armor is so readily available in the state. So long as in Fallout 76 the power armor is still called the X-01 and not the Advanced Power Armor, then this would make sense. And then it would be over 100 years later when the X-01 was finally improved by the Enclave and dubbed the Advanced Power Armor, or otherwise known as the Enclave Power Armor, which was then improved further into the Mark II version. However, if you consider that the X-01 Power Armor, as it's named in Fallout 4 and Shelter, is a retcon of the Advanced Power Armor, its inclusion in Fallout 76 would simply be a continuation of that retcon, which would be at odds with the lore that was established in the Fallout Bible and Fallout 2, which again states that work on creating the Advanced Power Armor only ever began in the year 2198, over 90 years after the beginning of Fallout 76, which is set again in 2102. So anyways, Wastelanders, what do you think about this? Let me know in the comments below. Again, you see what I meant about the lore being confusing and potentially inconsistent. I think we landed on something that could be right, although the bit about the Greenbrier is entirely my speculation, although I think it could be a cool inclusion in the game. But let me know what you think. So anyways, this has been the Lone Vault Wanderer. Please take care of yourself and would you kindly keep fighting the good fight.